Welcome to the Talk of the Town with me, Lynn About Town, Lynn Positon, and I'm here in sunny Clearwater, Florida on a beautiful February day. And for those of you who are in places that are still cold, I apologize. I'm sorry. But, an Allegiant Air flight to Clearwater, Florida for $69 will get you a warm-up, and we will welcome you. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Igor will welcome you. Igor is from Russia, so he knows cold.
Yeah, I know.
And you live in Clearwater now.
Yes.
Good.
So cool.
That's right. And the Talk of the Town is a show that brings good guys and good news together. And each week we come on Tuesday at drive time at 5 o'clock. And the show is presented by my wonderful company, Consumer Energy Solutions, here in Clearwater. And they sponsor the show each week. And normally we've been doing a half hour of an hour show, but today is the inaugural full hour. So for those of you who have had to put up with me for a half hour, you've got me for an hour.
Wow. That's a bonus.
Yeah, thank you. The good news about that is I want everyone who watches or listens to the show, because this is a radio show.
Yeah.
After all. But we do go live on Facebook on my Lynn Positon page. And then we would love to, build that audience as well, because you get to see a little bit more live action. Like today, for instance, in studio, we have a wonderful friend from the Seaside Seabird Sanctuary. Boy, I never realized.
It's a tongue twister. We want to keep it, you want to make sure you remember it.
That's Sally selling seashells at the Seaside Sea Sanctuary.
No, I'm not going to try.
No, don't try. I'm trying not to spit into the microphone actually right now. I have actually been to the Seaside Seabird Sanctuary. And what town are you located in?
We're in Indian Shores.
Indian Shores, which you go Clearwater and then you
Beach.
go Indian Rocks
Yep.
Beach, and you're right there.
You got it.
All right. Well, I have had to bring a wounded bird there. We'll talk about that later. But this is a nonprofit that does great work, and they rescue birds. They end up doing a lot more than that. They get those calls. What do I do? There's a dove in the street and it has a hurt wing. They take them. They do all kinds of things. But I'm not going to, that's just my teaser, so you stay tuned and you hopefully get me some people listening. And then I also have a good friend named Igor. Hi, Igor.
Hi.
And Igor and I, we met actually accidentally because he is the dad of a beautiful young lady who is one of the students at the Community Learning Center Academy. And each month, my company sends me there and I read to the kids and I do arts and crafts. And his beautiful daughter, Monica, is a real special, special girl, and I love her very much. So
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Every time I would see you guys, you'd be riding bikes, and I would say, what a hands-on dad. Like, he's so cool, No wonder I love Monica. She always helps me to my car and carries my things,
Yeah, I do it best as I can.
You do very, very well.
Oh, thank you.
She's quite a good girl. Anyway, but Igor also believes and does a lot with making things do well in the environment with the Way to Happiness Foundation.
Yeah.
And that's something I believe in very strongly. I've gotten a lot of help, and like I have been in Aruba, and I've been in Curacao, and I've been in Bonaire, and I've been in Colombia, and I've always done Way to Happiness projects each time I've gone.
Yeah.
And I have not met one person that didn't appreciate it or didn't become happier as a result. So it's a great program. But for those of you who have followed me on Facebook, my company is located in the East Gateway neighborhood. That is coming into the downtown Clearwater area. It's the East Side and it's the Gateway. So businesses like around Missouri, Nature's Food Patch, all the way up through Gulf to Bay where it comes in.
Yeah, it's Inglewood.
Yeah, and then coming out to the fire department actually on Gulf to Bay is still there.
Yeah.
It's still
correct.
considered. Yep.
Correct.
I think that's where it kind of Court Street,
Court,
correct.
Drew, Missouri, and Inglewood.
Good. So that's the East Gateway. And one of the projects that we started to work on was making that area less crime, more safe. And we came up with a name, Safe City, Safe Neighborhood Coalition, but we're going to change it to Safe City, Safe Neighborhood Team.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And actually, it started before me.
Yeah. But Igor has been really active. Like, what have you been doing recently with the Safe City?
Yeah, so actually, I was looking for something like a way how I can help city because my daughter is here and my family is here, and I went to Way to Happiness and I asked what is the kind of a best project I can be in charge, and they said, yeah, we were doing this. So I said, okay, I'm going to be in charge. And we start doing that. And right now, we're kind of gathering the team. But already we've done 2 distribution cycles on past Saturday and Sunday.
And when you say distribution, you're actually going door to door, giving residents and families a copy of the 21 Precepts to Better Living, the Way to Happiness booklet. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, like few groups of people just walk into the neighborhood and we meet people. We show them actual statistics about what already happened in Greenwood neighborhood.
Okay, that's right. We worked
And-
on that neighborhood. Yep.
Yeah, and I wasn't there, but I know that like for few years, the same program we're doing now, they were doing that there. And so the crime rate went down like 60%
Yeah.
or so, or
Yep.
maybe 70.
Yeah, it was over 60 and it definitely happened and I was part of that as well. The reason, and I will tell you this unless someone already told you, but the reason that we chose the East Gateway neighborhood next to do this project, and there's more to it than just giving the booklets out. We do other things, Igor and I will tell you about, but it was because Chief Slaughter, our chief of police, actually told us that that was the next neighborhood that really needed the most help with regard to crime.
Yeah.
Now, what did you find is the crime that's ongoing in Clearwater in general, let's say?
In general, I found out that Clearwater is not the safest place in the United States.
No, it is not.
And
It's lovely, but it's not.
Was, yeah, like frustrated, probably. Is that a word?
Is that what you wanted? You wanted it to be the safest?
Yeah, I wanted to be the safest city in the United States, and I think it should be because there are so many good people.
Well, someone
living
has to
here.
be number
That's
one, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and,
Who's number one right now? Maybe we got to know who our competition is, right? Any good team's going to have a plan.
Should I promote them at all?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Look, Tom
but-
Brady just won the Super Bowl. He knew what was going on with his competition, right?
Yeah,
So I think we should know who's our competition. I'm right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so right now in number one city is Naperville. And
Naperville.
Naperville is 28 miles west from Chicago.
Illinois.
Yeah. And to compare like a theft, let's
Theft,
say
mhm.
theft, in Naperville it's about 1,000 a year.
Okay, reported,
Reported
to the police, thefts.
yeah.
Okay.
And to compare in Clearwater, it's 2,500. So
Wow.
it's twice more.
Wow.
And yeah, and
That's a little
some,
surprising. What do you think,
That's,
Kevin?
it's like yeah,
It's a shame, it's a shame because, Clearwater here is a beautiful area.
It
you
is.
know, it's
Beautiful.
beautiful. We got a lot of amenities. So it sometimes, it's surprising to hear that, you
Yeah.
know, and I think, a lot of people don't realize that.
that's the thing, and this is exactly what was happening to me because this is how I get involved so much because I was leaving and I'm like, oh, Clearwater is so nice, and comparing to where I came from, and I was living in Russia in a big city, and it's more like randomities, so to say, and the city is St. Petersburg, and I guess it's the second city after Moscow. Like
Okay.
the biggest
Sure.
in Russia.
That's what I would think. I mean, I'm not from there, but that's what I would think.
Yeah. So, and when I came here, for me, it was after that city like a village,
That's
so I
right.
thought, oh, everything is all right here for sure.
Yeah.
And then I start asking questions, and I'm like, oh, it's probably somewhere like safest city. I was pretty sure, but then we start finding out, and it's like 80. We are on number 85. If I mentioned that.
Number 85. I don't like that number.
No.
I think we need a game plan. Is that what we're doing?
And basically, we have that because you were in Greenwood.
Yeah.
And it's pretty simple steps that were taken. It's cleanups, regular cleanups, and then regular...
Getting the neighborhood involved, cleaning up the neighborhood. That gives everyone more of a sense of pride. Yeah. And when something looks good and feels good, you don't want to mess it up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then you go door to door and you just make people realize what's happening. And then when they use the book, it just environment becomes friendly. Because
yes.
That's how it works. And I've seen a lot of examples of that.
I'm showing the people in Facebook land. We had one of the Way to Happiness is created with our cover, with our logo of Safe City, Safe Neighborhood. And this is what we're going around giving out, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And I want to say something now because we didn't really rehearse the show too well. But you can get your own cover. You can get custom covers of this book. Now, the word precept is not something that everybody uses or knows in everyday life. But let's say a precept is a truth or something that you can follow that would give a result. Would you say that's a good...
Yeah, it's a good
like treat others the way you want to be treated would be a precept.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So it's a truth. It's something that if followed will produce that truth, and it's a good way of living.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Way to Happiness has 21. I'm going to just read a couple. Get care when you are ill. Goes under the precept, take care of yourself. Another little subsection in that page or that section called Take Care of Yourself is keep your body clean, preserve your teeth, eat properly, get rest. And this one I thought was interesting because I can go without rest, but if I go without rest and I drive in a car, then I'm actually a hazard to others.
Absolutely.
Uncool, as you would say.
Yeah.
Uncool. Okay, so look what it says under Get Rest. Although many times in life one has to work beyond normal sleep periods, a person's general failure to get proper rest can make him or her a burden to others. So I was spot on. Tired people are not alert. They can make mistakes. They have accidents. Just when you need them, they can dump the whole workload on one. They put others at risk, insist that people who do not get proper rest do so. Okay, so that's just one of them.
Yeah, and it's 21.
And there's 21. There's things about don't take harmful drugs. There's things about do not take alcohol to excess. Honor and help your parents. Seek to live with the truth. That's wonderful. Honesty and finding honesty. Do not murder.
Do not steal.
Do not do anything illegal. Take care of your own area. Now, here's the thing. They're not just dumped on one. There's really good explanations. And by the way, if you go to thewaytohappiness.org, there's an amazing video you can watch.
Yeah.
And they, award-winning, literally bringing these precepts to life. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful films. And they have short, video for each one of presets. And also they have a big film.
Yeah. That's right. Like a documentary. It's a beautiful film.
All interconnected and all that people involved in situations. And it's so much life.
It's a beautiful film. Yeah. Right now I have a good friend, Keith, who I called Kevin today. And anyone who knows me forgives me because they know it's not meant out of disrespect. It's just 100-mile-an-hour Lynn.
You're more than forgiven.
Thank you. So Keith is actually the director of the Seaside Seabird Sanctuary in Indian Shores, Florida. They are located at 18328 Gulf Boulevard, Indian Shores. And you can reach them on their beautiful website, which is, by the way, a really nice website.
Thank you.
And it's seasideseabirdsanctuary.org. And you don't have to say it, you just have to type it. It's a lot easier to type than say. So, what is the Seaside Seabird Sanctuary all about?
Really simple. We have, one main goal. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're about 2.5 years old now. We were founded in July of 2016. Moved into our current location, taking over a facility, an existing facility that was there. Moved in there in September of 2016, and our main purpose is simple. It's to rescue, treat, rehabilitate sick and injured wild birds with the goal of getting them back to health to where they can be released back out in the wild where they belong, and to help try and preserve Florida's beautiful, gorgeous avian wildlife. You know.
Were you always I don't want to call you a bird guy, but I mean, did you love birds as a kid? Or did you own birds?
Not specifically birds. I mean, I've always been an animal lover all my life. I love animals. Have always been surrounded by pets. I used to, when I was younger, I grew up in Michigan and go camping a lot, and I just always loved wildlife. And then what it was is basically for most of my life, my career was actually, I worked in the music business. And
No kidding.
I mainly worked as, my main job was, I was a concert promoter and syndicated music columnist for years. I also used to have my own radio show, had an interview segment on another radio show. But my promotions company that I co-founded, Cambab's Promotions, we used to do a lot. Our way of giving back to the community was we loved to do benefit concerts for different organizations, especially
That helped animals.
nonprofits. And it was, we mainly liked doing the ones for wildlife, and not just wildlife, but also like pet adoption
Nice.
organizations. And then when I was kind of trying to retire from that business, I started volunteering for a different organization, and then just one thing led to another, and they ended up that organization wanted me to asked if I'd consider working there. And then when Seaside founded, I went right to Seaside, and just, I was running, ended up working up to running the hospital there, and then now several years later, I'm the director at Seaside, and I love it.
That's beautiful. We have some cute, I asked him to bring some things from their gift shop. We have like a really nice t-shirt and a really cool hat. And what is this sauce? What is this about?
Seaside sauce, yes.
Seaside sauce.
We have our own line of sauces. It's Seaside sauce is our barbecue sauce. We also have two hot sauces.
That is so
Pelican
cool.
Punch and Who's Hot.
Oh
And,
my gosh.
it's just our way. They're great sauces. We work with it's made by a condiments company that does these, and it's to help not only mainly to promote what we do, because the proceeds from these sauces, which are available in our gift shop, all goes back to the birds and what we do to pay for medical treatment and food and all that.
That's great. I was looking on the website, and I saw, I'm trying to see if I have it here, that about your funding. So now let's tell everybody how you're funded, because there's so many great nonprofit groups, and I can't show them all, but when I find them and I meet someone like I met Keith the other day, and that's how we got into this, I just love a good purpose, and if people don't know about it, they can't get behind it. So now tell us, if someone is listening and they, want to contribute, how do they do that, and how are you funded?
Well, first of all, how we're funded, we mainly depend on private donations, just donations from the general public, the community, and everything. That is what drives our funding. We don't get any kind of government funding of any kind.
Wow, okay, that's
nothing like that.
surprising.
So it is completely done by private donations. And so as far as how someone can help is, there's many different ways. Obviously, we're open to the public to come see we have, over 100 permanently disabled birds that can't be released.
And there's no charge to visit, by the way.
There's no charge, but we have donation boxes throughout. People can drop a donation in our box. They can buy something from our gift shop, which comes back to us. And also on top of that, you can do it online on our website or through our Facebook page. We can, do an online monetary donation through PayPal. We have an Amazon wish list where we have not only daily things that we use on a daily basis, but even certain even higher priced items that we need, like medical equipment and stuff, that people can actually go through Amazon, buy it on Amazon, and it gets shipped directly
That's
to us.
awesome. That's awesome.
But there's many different ways.
Anyone who's ever had a pet, but certainly bird lovers, need to come and visit this place. I'm actually going to come soon, and we'll do a Facebook Live, because I was there at another location, and a bird was injured, and my daughter, it was New Year's Day, and we didn't know what to do, and they were so kind, but I quick saw their website that they needed, old towels, they needed bleach, and they needed this, and they need that. I just scrambled around my house, and we just felt so good to be able to help. But everyone there was so nice, and let's talk about what kinds of animals they could see, because if someone's listening and they want to just do a school trip, they can come, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So what animals will they see that are residents now?
We have everything. Right now, we currently have 111 permanently disabled birds on display, ranging everything from the common backyard blue jay to great horned owls, barred owls, to brown pelicans, white pelicans, sandhill cranes, you name it. We've pretty much got it down there.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
And do you like to take in volunteers, like if they make the cut? Because not everyone really is up for it, and we are prepared. We're big boys and girls. But do you want and
absolutely. We're always and all this information is on our website. Or you can call us or come in. We always are looking for great volunteers. Even if you have no experience, there's something there that you can do to help us out. And we're always willing to put in the time to train someone if they would like to, do something a little bit more. We have an internship program for people going to college, to taking vet tech or, biology. Anything like that. We have an internship program. So absolutely, we are always we need the help, and we appreciate the help. And plus, it's also a way to also educate other people about what we do.
My stepdaughter has a daughter, and she is actually in a vet tech program, and she takes lots of hard classes at St. Pete. I bet you we should get her a flyer or something, and we can get you some nice interns. Right at local St. Pete College.
Absolutely, that would be wonderful. We got we get in the past we've gotten them from all over the place. USF, Eckerd College, a few from St. Pete College. So absolutely, we always love and appreciate more. Absolutely,
that's great. We were supposed to have the head of your hospital here, but she got called on an emergency. Tell us what happened.
Just right now, for the past year, I'm sure a lot of people out there listening to us probably are aware of it who are local. The past year, we've had a huge problem with a more severe than normal red tide outbreak in the area.
Yes.
And
making the beach uninhabitable absolutely. And breathing difficult for people who have breathing issues.
It's hit us, along with other rehabbers in the area, and really throughout the state, hard. Not only because, of course, our admission, the amount of sick birds that are coming in has skyrocketed to compare to other previous red tide seasons. But on top of it, too, taking a strain on us, all of us financially.
Well, sure. The more birds you take in, the more supplies you need, the more fish. What was the fish delivery today? How many pounds?
We order usually 6,000 pounds of fish, and that gets us through about 2 to 3 weeks.
Look at that, guys. 6,000 pounds of fish being delivered gets them to 2 to 3 weeks. So there's need.
Yeah, and that doesn't include, mind you, we take in all birds. So that doesn't include the 6,000 mealworms a day, all the bird seed, all the rats, mice, everything, insects, fruits, berries, everything it takes to so we go through a lot, and that's really the emergency today was just because we're still dealing with red tide in that it's slowing down as far as the admissions go. But today we did get a number more in, and unfortunately, some of them, a couple of them were extremely critical.
So now, how
she
did
just had
I'm just
to-
curious? How did they? Because this is another thing, right? Like knowledge gives you the ability to take responsibility in a wider sphere where you can control. I didn't even think of red tide on the birds. It just, I'm being honest, it didn't hit my reality. So now I'm going, what's that next thought? Okay, what did they manifest? And did a Good Samaritan call in? Or what were these birds conditioned?
Well, it all depends. It depends on a lot of things. It depends, first of all, the species, because red tide affects the different species of birds in different ways,
Okay.
and it also depends on how long they've been exposed to it. So basically, though, the general thing is what it does is it hits their nervous system, their neurological and everything. So, say a double-crested cormorant, for example, which is very, for those who know.
I call them diver birds.
Yeah, there you go. Those are very common around this area. For them, it kind of makes them act like they're drunk because they have no sense. They're off balance.
No kidding.
And so you'll see them walking around and they're kind of swaying their head all around. They're kind of wobbling, and they're very drunk. With other birds, such as pelicans, it will really kind of make it to where they'll end up becoming extremely lethargic. So where they won't have much control at all, almost a paralyzed sense.
No
and
kidding.
they come in looking like they're deceased, and they're not. They're still alive, but they're just
It's
extremely
like playing
lethargic.
possum, but they're just that lethargic.
Yeah,
They're just out.
exactly.
Wow. Wow. Did you have any idea about this, Jen?
No, not at all.
That's-
I didn't think that red tide would affect the bird population.
Yeah.
Well, you got
Which is silly because it
They're
was affecting
seabirds.
human people, so.
Yeah.
and
they're seabirds. They
Yeah.
eat the fish that
Yeah.
it's which they mainly get it from the fish that they eat, but on top of it, just being exposed to it even without eating the fish. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to sound a little silly, but is red tide considered a virus or a fungi or what is it?
It's an algae. It's a natural algae occurrence that happens in the water.
Okay.
Scientists are not quite sure exactly how it works yet.
Oh, good. I don't feel bad then. The scientists don't know exactly.
It's a natural occurrence that happens out in the water,
Okay.
and it usually happens every year. Sometimes it doesn't, and it usually lasts for maybe a month, maybe a little bit more. Unfortunately, this year it's lasted almost a full year in the state of Florida.
It's got to be hurting
So,
tourism and everything. I would
they're
think.
also looking into the reasons for that. They believe a lot of scientists, from the reports I've seen, is that they believe that it could have been exacerbated by human involvement with down in Lake Okeechobee, the drainage going into the water and just exacerbating it even more and making it more pronounced.
Yeah, I saw some videos of like extreme places where the smell is just horrible and they can't go. And I mean, when I moved here, there was an outbreak and we caught it right when it had happened. And so the fish that I had seen weren't smelly yet, but it was like there were puffer fish and there were little baby sharks and there were tons of eel action. And I mean, it was exciting to me because I never would see these fish. And they, like I said, they weren't decayed yet, but I didn't even understand what was really happening. I don't live at the beach and it was one visit, but I took so many videos of, so it's been a long season.
It's been a long season, and right now it's kind of it's still affecting Florida. It's not quite. It's moved out of this area. Hopefully for a long time.
For a long time.
But there's still
You could
parts
use a break.
of southern Florida that still has it, and of course it's like any illness. It takes a while before it's there's still birds coming in that have caught it, and it takes a while for for the effects to take. And so, and of course, birds fly. So there's birds getting it in southern Florida where it is heavy and flying
Oh,
up here.
sure,
So, and by the
sure.
time the illness hits them and the symptoms show. So.
Yeah. Well, I remember the reason I call the cormorants the diver birds is my friend lived right on the water here, the intercoastal, and it was on the balcony, and we would look and we'd watch them dive down and then come up with like a big eel, wrestling this big eel. And we were like, whoa,
Yep.
and you never knew they would. And then all of a sudden the bird would dive again like a fish and he'd be down there for a while, That's
Yeah.
not true of all the other birds. I mean,
No, it depends on the bird. Some birds are more made for that. So cormorants are one, and hingas are another. The snake bird, people refer to it as. They can hold their breath for quite some time
Wow.
under there, and yeah, they're especially when we go out on rescues. If they still got a little bit about depending whatever their injury or illness is. It's tough to catch them when they're in the water because they're good divers. They're good swimmers, the cormorants.
oh my gosh, yeah. And then you go to the beautiful rivers we have, and you see them sunning, and they have to dry their wings out, right? Or they.
Yeah, we get about 1,500 calls a year on our rescue line for injured birds and this and that, and a big portion of those calls are for cormorants, and also a big portion of them are also false alarms because people assume that they see a cormorant down here walking around on the beach, or it's got its head tucked back in its feathers, that, oh my God, it's injured or it's sick because it's not flying. And even, I've gotten real close to it and it won't fly away. Well, cormorants, they cannot fly. If they came in from out of the water, they cannot fly until their feathers are completely dry. They don't have oil glands like say
preening,
ducks
like
do,
ducks
and
do
that,
that, yeah.
and that coats their feathers. So they actually have to dry their feathers, and they cannot fly until they get it. So a lot of times they'll take that time on the beach. You'll see them sunbathing out with their wings out, which some people think, its wings are broken, it's sticking out.
How funny.
And they'll take that time sometimes to just rest and sleep and everything. So absolutely.
When you get the call, you should say, okay, here's your homework assignment. Watch this video on the life of a cormorant, and then let me know if that's what he's doing. And they're like, never mind.
And 9 out of 10 times that's what it is. Sometimes, of course, there is occasions where they are, of course, injured in that. But that's what we do. We talk them through it, make sure that we ask the right questions and see. And then if we have to, we go out and check and see.
Yeah. So how does the Seabird Sanctuary differ from other wildlife rehab places?
Many ways. I think one of the main reasons is a lot of your wildlife rehabbers in the area and that are simply just that. They're wildlife rehabbers. They're not open to the public as far as like being an attraction. So the difference is with us, we are on a 1.5 acre facility. So outside of our avian hospital that's located there, and the behind the scenes rehabbing we do, the treatment in the hospital, the rehabbing in outside areas, we're also open to the public. We are almost like a zoo in a way.
Yeah.
People can come in. They can view the 111 permanently disabled birds that reside there. We have a gift shop. We have an educational center. It's kind of like a museum of
nice.
wildlife, avian medicine and wild birds. We do presentations there. We do twice a week screech owl demonstration where people can meet our resident screech owl Rufus face to face. And we teach you about that. We do a daily pelican hand feeding demonstration.
Is that a model of Rufus?
There you go. That's our little our plush toy version of Rufus.
Awesome. And he's not screeching, but he's darn
No,
cute.
no.
I because I saw that, I put on my Facebook page these two cute owls with those really big eyes. You think it's like a emoji, and it's not even real, but they have the
Right.
coolest eyes ever.
Yes, they do. Owls are actually one of probably my favorite bird out of all the whole bird kingdom and everything.
And I don't know how to,
love owls.
sometimes people have them and sometimes they don't. What attracts them? Because one day I ran and I got my camera and there were two adorable, they were young, on my patio chair. And I ran and I got my camera, and my husband was so cute. He put the flashlight on. They didn't move. I'm snapping away. I got in. I didn't have the memory card in. I still am so mad at myself for that, because I never saw them again, and I'm here 14 years. So why are they...
Well, first of all, a couple different reasons. First of all, owls are one of those things that 9 out of 10 times they're there and you don't even see them, because first of all, they're nocturnal, which means that they're either sleeping or just resting during the day, and they camouflage extremely well in the trees, which is where they nest and everything.
And we have
in the
all
trees.
this moss hanging,
Right.
and you probably models there. You don't even see them.
Exactly. And at nighttime, when they are active and flying around, they're silent. You will not hear an owl. They don't make a noise. The way their wings and their feathers are layered and designed, they're made purposely to be silent.
Beautiful.
You could have it literally, I know what to look for. At night, I know when there's an owl flying by me. I can see them. But you won't hear it. You'll see maybe a shadow. That's all you'll see.
Almost like you think it's a phenomena or something,
exactly.
but yet it was an owl.
They're doing what they do best. They are
Stealthy
undetected.
suckers.
They are stealthy. And as far as what attracts them, they're the same as like any other most birds. They're attracted to where their food source is. During normal times, of course, some birds go, the reason birds migrate is not just for food source, it can also be for mating, this or that. Common misconception that birds migrate to the south for temperature. It's not quite how it works.
Oh, tell us.
Well, depending on the species we're talking about, most of them, first of all, it's not necessarily to the south. It's to a certain region. It may be towards the south, maybe southwest, southeast. It's usually done for either, depending on what bird, but most of them it's usually done for either food source or mating. So not for the actual temperature.
Right.
But it's the
We
same
have
way with the owls.
snowbirds for that, and
Snowbird,
that is
that's
for the
right.
temperature. And they have 2 legs and no wings, and they drive really slow.
Absolutely.
And they cause traffic this time of year. But we love you. You could do what I did and start as a snowbird and move here. We like that too.
I think just about most of us in Florida started out that way.
I'm
so.
telling you, I never knew how solar powered I am, but I can tell you that, like the owl, I did not move here for the temperature, but I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Yep,
I like
agree.
it a
Me
lot.
too.
I think this is totally the way you do winter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Seabird sang. So tell them the website again. Let's see.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. It's Seaside Seabird.org.
And the website is amazing. And I want to, they were even on TripAdvisor. Look at that. Top rated on TripAdvisor. So there you go. There's the difference in other rehab places. These animals are beautiful. They need your help. The red tide has caused a lot of trouble in terms of financial and all the birds coming in. So please support Seaside Seabird Sanctuary.org and go on the website and figure out how to do that. And anyone who's listening who has kids and wants to do a trip, Community Learning Center, let's bring these guys over there. Let's first fill the car with what they need in supplies. Again, back to the Facebook page. I'm going to ask you for donations of money, time, and supplies. And let's go there and do a really great thing for these guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Keith.
My pleasure.
My new friend. And for everyone else, thank you for joining in. We'll see you next Tuesday on the Talk of the Town. Go to the block party this Saturday, 5 p.m. on the corner of Cleveland and Fort Harrison. And we appreciate you guys very much for coming, and we want you now. Bye-bye.